prosperity and great happiness now for the past 31 years. And so looking forward to the next 31. The adventure only gets better all the time. The company itself is one that certainly has made its mark in the world of success as far as all our years in the marketplace. The company entered the marketplace in 1970, so we're going to be 50 years old next year. The man who, as a very young man, started this company is still the man who heads it up today. It was his baby then, it's still his baby, and his philosophy has certainly brought great prosperity to so many. The company actually initiated its entry into the marketplace with a product I'm sure you're all familiar with today, and that was smoke detector and fire alarm equipment. We were the company that introduced that product, and obviously that laid the groundwork for huge success to follow, diversifying over the years. We went into water filtration and air filtration in-home, and again, very successful multi-billion-dollar product lines. And almost 26 years ago now, we entered the field of health technology with Juice Plus and the Juice Plus family of products. And what a find that was, not only for our own health and well-being, but for the people we love and those that we come across on a daily basis. And in sharing this with the world, we have not only enabled many people to acquire great health and have that edge as far as their physical health, but also to really master their financial security as well. And in doing so, it's been a wonderful way for all of us to create relationships and friendships where everyone works to empower one another. And I think that's what makes me the most proud, is being associated with all of you in doing that. Tonight we have a speaker that we all admire a bit from afar. We don't get to hear from her often, but we're very excited to hear from her tonight. Our very special speaker is Linda EVENDEN, and she is a National Marketing Director from Australia. And to tell you a little bit about Linda, she's a wife, a mom, a speaker, coach, and her passion is helping people to magnify their unique gifts and bring heart and courage to their businesses to supercharge their wildest dreams and visions. Linda is a passionate advocate of the network marketing profession that delivers dreams every day and loves empowering team to lead a fired-up, independent, duplicating team. Linda is the top earner in Australia that leads a global team of thousands and has been in the profession now for 10 years. She is also the winner of the Elton 39 Club Award, which is the highest award given as people go through production and growing their businesses. So we're very excited to welcome her from across the world tonight, as she is going to talk to you about team and team development, because obviously that is a strong point for her. But first, Linda, I'm just going to ask you to maybe share with people how you happen to be attracted to Juice Plus, how you came across it, and then also what was appealing to you from a business standpoint. So, Linda?
Hi, good evening, Cheryl, and thank you, everyone. I'm really honored to have this time together. So, yes, back to where it all began, like so many of us, I was introduced to the concept of the product of Juice Plus by my dear friend, Lauren LaHave. And you know what? I just loved Lauren. I loved everything that she was up to. I wanted to be part of her world, even if that meant buying fruit and veggies in a capsule, right? And she really, the one thing that she said to me with the product was, all the other stuff in the cupboard, we're going to stop taking that and we're just going to take this. I want you to do this with me. And that was enough for me. So, the product made sense. I loved how quickly I felt the benefits. At that time, I had 2 kids under 2 and a little bit, and had the kind of the zombie mom syndrome, and I just felt that flood of energy and just the motivation to go to gym and a few other things. And within a few months, what I thought was not possible, that I began to live with, was migraines. And for anyone that you know that may have suffered with those, they're debilitating, they're terrifying, they're horrible. And here was something so simple that just cleared this up when nothing else could. I was a raving fan, very early raving fan of the product. Now, the business, I did not say yes to immediately. I did sign up as a distributor. I didn't really understand the business. I had, I guess, some myths, that I had to be very salesy, that I had to kind of chase people and convince all of my friends. So I wasn't someone that grabbed at it straight away, which I think is the first piece of, advice that I want to give people is that not everyone is going to say yes straight away. But I still remember to this day, Cheryl, that I was kind of one of the first to be on a three-way call with you and Lauren. And I remember telling Lauren, I'm not going to do the business. I'm not interested. I'm not sure why this woman is calling me, but okay. And it still lasts with me, Cheryl, that it was so, you didn't try and convince me of anything. You asked me about me, you listened, you heard. I felt flattered because I was invited to come on along with you and Lauren. And even though my mind said, I don't want to do the business, that invitation stayed with me and I thought of it often. So even though it took me quite a few months to give it a strong yes, a proper yes, that initial process of you both gave me an invitation and a choice, and you left a really safe space for me to say yes at any time. So that would be something that I would definitely pass on to people. Don't be discouraged if people don't say yes right away, because I can say some of the biggest leaders in our organization, some took 2 years, some took 4, and believe it or not, some are still coming back around after 10 years. So it's a process.
Well, and I can believe it because I've been here long enough that I see every aspect of that, and I think it's wonderful advice to share with people that, it's patience sometimes and it's persistent, but, really people who are going to grow up in this and have the kind of strength that you do, everybody counts, and it's worth the effort. So
yes.
Share with people as you did begin to really see a vision for this, the things that not only impressed you, but what activities went into place so that you could, how did you begin to put that team together? And then what have been the things that were not only foundational, but, has created the consistency of success that you all are experiencing?
Yes, and so I just, I was reflecting on this earlier, and I really want to deliver value and my truth here to really reach people no matter where they're at in the business, that anything is possible. And we hear a lot of the same things in our training. There's a lot of concepts that remain the same no matter how we're doing business. And when you just said earlier, everyone matters, I didn't really understand this to begin with. I was going after people who were hungry and wanted to say yes straight away, and I wanted them to come all the way to the top with me. So I was not very patient. I was big vision and, a strong work ethic. And in those earlier days, I was very good at finding people and recruiting them and getting them to the VF level. And then beyond that, that's where I stayed kind of stagnant in the business. So I had a lot of frontline VF, but I wasn't creating duplication and leadership. So I think this is, we were reflecting earlier on this when we spoke, Cheryl, that it was a really important part of my journey, and it took me several years to learn. So I'm hoping that I can save some of you some time here, that to really meet people where they're at, really understand that everyone comes into this business with a different purpose, a different vision, a different reason. There's a lot of similarities. But when we really hear them and what they want and where they're at and what their hopes and dreams are, what they're prepared to invest in that dream, then you can meet that. You can meet that pace. You can meet that vision. and you can do it with them, alongside them. What I was doing for those first several years, and pretty frustrated if I'm honest, is I was trying to do it for everyone. And so I wasn't having as much fun as I could have if I had have understood earlier in the piece that some are going to sit, some are going to jog, some are going to run, and some are just going to be absolutely, on a sprint. And that, in all honesty, I really don't believe after 10 years and many, many frontline and over the organization that we get to really influence that outcome. The numbers are going to play out. So once I understood that my job wasn't to force this or to do it for them, that really my job was to keep building the numbers, and that every single person matters, and everyone, whether they're doing a little or a lot, is really equally valuable. Now, you won't spend your time, you won't invest your time in the same way. Those that are running, naturally, you're going to run with them, alongside them. And those who are sitting, often they're here for a little bit. So if people are going to do the business sometime, part-time, no time, or full-time. And really understanding that early on is something that I'm very passionate about, a constant message across our teams, because that probably, the frustration more than anything in those earlier years, Cheryl, could have taken me out. So
well, and so what you're really saying is that you really learn to match people's energy. If they were
yes.
if they were in a jog, instead of a full out run or
right.
like a jet stream going really fast, that it was as
yes.
the energy showed up, you matched the energy. And I think that is a
yes.
really important message, because it takes a lot of pressure off off ourselves and off the upline, you might say. And there have been
yes.
studies that show that it's the kind of business that the least manipulative people in the world are the ones that are successful, because they're there to be of service and to match energy instead of trying to control. And we all have to learn that. And I think
yes.
that's a very important message. So share with us, though, how, as your team came together, how and where did you find those people? What was the function? I think you've told me that so much of your business just kind of grew up in your house, okay?
It did, yeah.
Share with people how that went and how it still goes today.
Yes, and the one concept that has always remained the same to me over the 10 years, once I got brave enough to just consistently put myself out there to be the creator of events. And, I'm just thinking back here, and initially in those earlier years, I was afraid. I was afraid to host an event, because what if someone doesn't turn up? What if I keep putting myself out and people just don't turn up? That is really, demotivating, demoralizing. And I still remember a very pivotal conversation with one of my beautiful friends and mentors, Celine Egan. And she just encouraged me. She said, sometimes people aren't going to show up. But when they do, you never know. When you put this in your diary and it's time to work on your business, you work on your business no matter what. Whether people come or they don't, this is your time that you work on your business. And I loved that, because it took the pressure off me that if I'm investing in me, I'm building an asset. I'm building my skills, and it's up to me to make that investment every week consistently. And so whether someone turned up to the event or not, alleviating that pressure of succeed or fail was really pivotal to me in the early days. So it gave me the bravery to keep showing up and keep hosting events. And then pretty soon, someone is going to show up. And then pretty soon, another one is going to show up. And then pretty soon, your event is going to get better, because you're going to start learning what people want to come to see. So I encourage you all to think about, well, what's going to get you out of the house on a Thursday night? What is it about an event that at 10:30, whatever you want to call it, it's where you get very focused about adding a lot of frontline as quickly as you can. And each time that I would do that, I was just reflecting. It was the weekly event that I opened up our house every Thursday night at 8 o'clock for 4 years. And that event, it started off with 10, and then it grew to 20, and then it grew to 40, and then it grew to 50, and then pretty soon, it was that event on Thursday night that really we've raised up nearly almost 10. We've raised up 9 100 clubs from that lounge room event. They first came to see it. They said yes there. They brought back their people the next week, and they raised up their leaders. And it was one of the most powerful ways for us to tick all the boxes with this event. We were showing the product. We were showing the business and how it works. We were overcoming those myths. We were showing people the strength of our community and our tribe. We were raising up stories of a little bit of success. We were raising up stories of a lot of success. We were talking about, of course, the product power and those stories. And, as we were speaking about earlier, Cheryl, there were so many nights there that, my husband was traveling at the time. He's now retired with me into our business, which is very cool. That was one of my major aims. And at the time, he was still traveling quite a lot. So there were many Thursday nights where I had to kind of, make the school lunches, clean up the house, and, clean up dinner and get the kids, rush them off to bed. And then it was time to, light the candles, get out the water, get out the cups, tidy up. And there were many nights where I just didn't want to, where I would look at my watch at 7:30 and go, oh, really? Another Thursday night? Oh, my goodness. And then I just managed to catch myself so many times, Cheryl. I call it the gratitude slap. I kind of gave myself the gratitude slap to say, Linda, really? 3 years ago, you would have given your right arm, girl, to have 50 people come and show up, that they're here to discover something that might change their life. What an honor. What a privilege. They're giving me their most precious commodity, right? And sometimes it's not easy to show up at someone's house. So I would just get into that state and think about, wow, I'm so grateful for what we're creating here. But I can honestly say, to just really have my hand on my heart here, it was not easy many of those nights to get on with it, to keep the bigger why, keep the bigger vision for what we were doing. And the power of the event delivered every single time, whether I felt like it or not, because people show up and they're already pre-qualified. It filters out people, because if they're coming out on a weeknight because a friend says, I really want you to come and see this, I want you to feel this, then tell me yes or no. It was the strength in the tribe, the team, and all of those stories. People are going to remember the stories the most. They're not going to remember the how-to and the facts. Facts tell, stories sell. So really, this was the chance for us to showcase that every week. So if you think about it, brand new distributors, if they've got just one thing to do every week, they know that Thursday night at 8 o'clock, you have one place to be, and you are dedicated to that hour and a half. Whether you've got a guest or not, you show up. Sometimes the event needs you. Sometimes you need the event. So when your hot prospect at last says, yes, okay, tonight's the night I'm going to come, you get to rely on the tribe. You get to know, you get to trust that this tribe has your back, that the stories will be great, that everyone is going to deliver, their best heart-centered story around what we have and why we're doing it. So the events, more than anything that I've ever consistently done in 10 years, is what delivers the most bang for buck. It ticks all the boxes. It builds belief in, for new distributors, for potentials, for customers, for raving fans. It's also the place where we raise up leaders. We pass the marker on to them. We coach them during the week on sharing a section of the event, and, we're showcasing, people growing in a safe way. So events are still very much my passion. And, of course, now we have online. which allows us to reach so many people. So very quickly on the Thursday night event, after 4 years, we consistently had so many complaints from my neighborhood that we got an official notice from the council saying, whatever you're doing that Thursday night, you can't anymore, because we would get up to 90 in our house on a weeknight. And that's when we had to go, okay, the lounge room, this season is evolved, and we went to then, a formal venue every Thursday night. But you know what? From that class of 2014 and that consistent event that I just decided we needed to do every week, there's 9 100 clubs from there that are each doing their own version. So it's a powerful process.
And congratulations, because what I hope people hear is consistency of activity, consistency of the event. Whatever the event is, it became something that was always there. People could depend on it. As you said, it was everybody could depend on each other. They were empowering to one another. But whether you felt like it or not, you were true to your commitment that the consistency of that event would happen. And it also condensed time because, every week, if you were doing something every week, it wasn't once a month, or it wasn't, every now and then. There was a consistent calendar which created something that really became a tradition in a sense, or foundational from a business standpoint. So it gave you all a strong foundation, a strong springboard, you might say, into the world as what you call a tribe, and I think it's a wonderful description. So tell us then how you more or less have merged that with, virtual activities, virtual events. I know Zoom has become great for everyone, including ourselves here in the U.S., but tell us a little more about how y'all began to incorporate and still incorporate both of those things.
Yes, and so every Thursday night we would Zoom that as well. We kind of created FOMO for the rest of the team that were, not with us physically. We would have Zoom on for that event so that they could tune in and say hi. And, every week the computer was right there, and all the presenters and storytellers were used to standing in the right position so Zoom could tune in as well. So when you can maximize resources, why wouldn't you Zoom a live event? Because this is a way that you can reach people in other countries and other time zones, and they can, it's still powerful on Zoom. They can still feel, the power in stories, and they can feel your genuine, care and passion for what you're doing. So what we've done now, Cheryl, after, a lot of the bigger leaders now have been with us for, it's coming up to 5 years. So what we've noticed is we've been through seasons here. So that Thursday night event evolved. We got too big for one team, a quality problem. So the independent leaders created their own versions. And what we've noticed is that community is so important. We're really coming back around to the basics of really raising up whether people are doing a little or a lot. We want those community events. So we're doing what we're calling a Super Saturday, and where we're going to have a guest speaker. We create a wow experience for our customers and our potentials. We have a great guest speaker who is talking about something that's relevant to everyone, that's a real value add. And then we are doing some reward and recognition to just really show part of what the tribe is about. People love to be recognized. And then we're having a training section. And so this is once a month, and eventually it's going to be in all the major cities around Australia. We're just really rolling out the next few here to fix and refine, see what we love about that. But we've already had one, and it was so well received because it's just getting back to the gratitude of the community. Whether people are doing a little or a lot, really recognizing them where they're at and saying thank you. It's really kind of thank you day is how I'm seeing our Super Saturdays. And so supporting that, a lot of the major teams have 2 to 3 of their team online events each week. So in any one night, there's, across our organization, there's at least 5 or 6 Zoom events, whether it's for mums or athletes or, just a general kind of own your own life event. So everyone has really grown up knowing that events are key, both online and offline. And even this week, one of the mums groups has said they really missed the regular Thursday night, so they've started a Thursday morning one, a girl hang is what they're calling it, Thursday mornings. Because I think that the same concepts are the same, that the people crave connection. They want to be with like-minded, like-valued people. In this hyper-connected world of social media and all of these great apps and tools, we're actually very disconnected a lot of the time. So I'm very mindful that nothing ever replaces the chance to hug someone and connect with them. It's those corridor conversations with teams that are the most pivotal at these live events. If someone's having a great day or not.
It's such an important message, and I so love hearing you say it. We were just having a conversation amongst our national marketing director team here in the U.S. this morning, in that, being able to really merge both live events and virtual events and have both available and both there. Like you say, there's no way to replace virtually the hug you can give somebody in person. And so to really be able to incorporate both of those is very powerful. And it sounds to me, too, like you all, stay very true to the basics, bringing people to hear the stories about the product, about the business, and then duplicating that, bring people to hear the stories about the product, about the business.
Absolutely.
And
we've gotten fancy. We've gotten fancy and we've gotten distracted and we've tried this and we've tried that, and, that's what independent leaders do. They want to make things better and try different things. And I can really definitely confirm that we get back to the basics. Is when we want to grow our business to that next level, it's back to the same things. That it's recruiting, it's the conversations, it's the I really love, and I remind myself and the leaders, the team of this often. I love that, in Memphis at the home office, the statue of the conversation. And every single person in this business is here because of a conversation. It's still the conversation. It doesn't matter whether you learnt it from a post or a group or some part of you got on a messenger, got on phone and said yes to a conversation, when someone really just took the time to listen to you and hear what you want more of and say, well, we can help you create that here. Whether that's the product or the business, it's always that one conversation at a time. So, yes, we have great ways. I started 10 years ago, so there was no Zoom, there was no Facebook. I love that we've evolved with that and we've stayed ahead of that. But I'm not sure that I've ever recruited anyone from social media, to be 100% honest. I can recruit people that do that, which is great.
Well,
but I'm not about to go
wonderful.
out and be an Instagram queen.
It's wonderful to have the combination, but I think someone has to be there to make sure that, that combination stays, that is really clear in people's minds, that you do need the personal events, the live events, the individual events, as well as the virtual events. And that combination, along with just really staying clear on what the basics are. And the basics is a conversation about our product or our business and the stories that go along with that. And that we are in the business of team development. I think this is something that sometimes, there are wonderful fancy programs that come out this way or another, and great things that people have ideas about. But then you've got to really remember what's foundational, and foundational is we are in the business of team development to put together that team to then reach out and access the consumer worldwide. And I think we're doing that very effectively when you remember what those basics are. So I love this message tonight because it's so 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 much the same of what I've seen over the years that's created real success. So I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, that's all good. I guess I can see our time is nearly up. That went so super fast. But I think the one thing that I've learned that I really know to be true about developing a team is really understanding and coming back around to, our role as the dream keeper. And I got that beautiful word from Karen Jones years ago when she first came out to Australia to really cast some vision here. And when someone shares with us what their hope and dream is, what their vision can be for a better life for themselves, we take that, we hold that in our hands, and we remind them of that often. So checking in with team and saying, is this still important? Let's stand it. And that's what I love about this business. It has our back, no matter what. Is there a way that we can stay consistent to keep building towards that dream? And I'll always get that dream back out again and see if their commitment is still there to bring that. So I think that being that guiding light and staying true with why they're here, everyone else is going to listen to their excuses in life, and I can't serve anyone when I buy into that. Life's happening for everyone. Everyone's, got so much going on. This is where we can really see beyond that, see their potential, and help them to continue step into it. We can't force them. We can't do it for them, but we can hold that space to say, you know what, I believe in you. And if you stay consistent with this and I can be your accountability buddy, here's the next 3 things that I would love for you to do over this next week, and then let's get clear. And keeping their eyes very focused on that one prize in the next step, and really just recognizing and rewarding those efforts. Because we are in competition with everything else in their life. So when we are more fun, more connected, more rewarding, more growth, when we can win kind of the attention war is what I call it, when we can give them more of their needs, we'll keep them and we will get their attention, we'll keep their attention. So I see our job as the dream keeper is meet their needs more than anyone and anything else is, as quickly as possible. That would be my final team building
that's
a
beautiful. That's a beautiful wrapping of this entire talk, because I love the way it's stated. It's stated with a great deal of heart, and I love that you stated it as your role is the dream keeper, because. And I also love that in hearing that, there's a great deal of heart, but also there's that, I guess you would say, firm stance that in doing that, you have to constantly bring people back to that dream. But in doing so, there has to be a requirement of activity that's going to make that happen. What are the 3 things that we could do to continue to bring this about? I mean, that's a very important balance, is that
yes,
that not only being the dream keeper, but being able to give the direction and hold the accountability of that person when you do give the direction, if they're going to get the result. And very, very empowering, because it's done with heart, but it's also done with a certain amount of firmness, because you know that that's going to get the result that's needed. So, and you're so right. Everybody has life happening to them, and for the most part, the world doesn't have any idea what any person is dealing with at any time, and it's usually more than anyone thinks. So, but there has to be a focus, and it sounds like you're very good at not only bringing the heart to it, but also helping people keep the focus. And that's an amazing combination, and I can see why the success would be so prevalent, throughout your organization and in Australia. So beautiful, beautiful message, and we really, really appreciate your time from across the world. And I just loved having you on tonight, Linda. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Cheryl. It's my honor. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to now, I know this happens for you all, of course, as well as for us, because we're all with the same company, is our company is one that's extremely